Coming up today on a Hornets Hive Live, Locked On Hornets edition. Hawks. The Hornets just beat them. Big three. I don't even know what happened. All the offense, we break it all down today. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. There it is. I didn't see it before.
I didn't listen, I'm not even fooling around. I didn't want to do a joke. I didn't want to tease it. I didn't want to fool around. The big dub hat is on because that was it was such a big dub that we decided to go live because we just needed the chat love, the Sicko celebrations. We got Walker Martin in the chat saying Topo. I haven't said Topo in so long. I'm going to wake the baby up.
This is like old times, baby. Hive Live, Locked On Hornets.
We used to call it Hive Talk Live. In fact, I went up into my attic and I found a bunch of old stuff from the show's beginning and from stuff that I collected at the Spectrum Center. And I found an old Hive Talk Live polo that's hanging up in my closet right now.
Beautiful. Maybe you go get that along with the big dub hat. That's Doug Branson. You can find him on his Substack, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Did you give the Sicko shout out yet? Did you signal to the Sickos to come here and join us on Hornets Live? Not Hornets Live, the Hive Live. Hornets Live is very different from what we're doing.
Yeah, I lit the bat signal, but it's not the Batman logo. It's Gennaro Pargo's face. That's the Sicko bat signal.
You're drawn to it. That's what all NBA, when they needed a backup point guard, they were drawn to Gennaro Pargo's face. I mean, that's just how it is. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also check him out, Yahoo Sports Daily with Jason Fitz and Caroline Fitton. And I'm Walker Mehl. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio, 92.7 FM. Thanks for making us your first listen. Because so many of you make us your first listen here on Locked On Hornets. Locked On is the #1 sports podcast network out there, the #1 sports podcast network. So we appreciate it. The reason we're going live is because that was an exciting win. Goodness gracious. 133 to 126. The Hornets beat the Atlanta Hawks with the big three out there on the court, creating sweet music with one another, Doug. Here are the numbers. I don't usually love reading the box score because you guys can check that out yourself, but in case you're driving home from the game and you got us pulled up, just in case that's happening, here's the big three box score, okay? Brandon Miller finishes with 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting. He was 4 of 7 from deep. Kon Knueppel finishes with 28 points, 10 of 17 shooting, 6 of 12 from deep. And LaMelo, his first game back after taking a few games off with that ankle injury. He was 10 of 16 from the field. He was 8 of 11 from three-point land, including what Eric Collins would call the kill shot at the very end. LaMelo would go on a 7-0 run all by himself. Maybe I think it was the last 7 points he scored. I don't know if the Hawks scored much there. I think maybe Jalen Johnson had a dish to Dyson Daniels. It doesn't matter. LaMelo finished this game going on a 7-point run himself to ice out the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hornets get the win. They now have 9 victories on the season. And again, it's because of those big three, man. Like, we've wanted to see it on the floor for quite some time. I think that's exactly how it's supposed to look. The ceiling, right. All of them flirt with 30 points, right? All of them flirt with 30. The ball is popping. I mean, the offense was so good. The ball was moving all around the court, especially in the first half. You're going to let up a lot defensively. The Hawks scored quite a bit. Okay. Like, again, it's how it was supposed to look. But the Hornets got the victory. What a fun night for Hornets basketball.
Yeah, the offense was great. The defense, we're not going to talk about that right now. We'll save that for tomorrow. But the offense was great. And I thought, you mentioned LaMelo going on the run at the end of the game. I thought LaMelo had a run. I thought that Brandon Miller had a run at the end of the third quarter. He was making passes that I just simply haven't seen him make in his career. And I mean, the one like physics breaking whip around pass that he had past Okongwu, man, poor Okongwu. Like, I felt like all of the big kill shots, kill passes, everything was happening to Okongwu. And I liked early in the game, LaMelo screaming at Okongwu, gets the technical foul. And I don't know if you were listening to the broadcast, but like Del Curry and Andy C were quick to point out that these two were teammates in high school, high school or AAU. Like they were teammates.
No, it was high school. So Okongwu and LaMelo were famously teammates in high school, and there are so many videos of the past of LaMelo like talking trash to Okongwu, like just his teammates. Anyways, they can't guard me. Anyways, good stuff between those two.
Okay, but this is what I was going to bring up because like it seemed like all fun and games at the beginning, but by the end, when he did it, because LaMelo did it again to Okongwu on one of those drives that he had on him at the end of the game. And he screamed at him again, and thankfully, good God, thankfully the refs didn't punish him again, give him another technical foul. But Okongwu gave him a little tight shove there, so I don't know how friendly it was by the end, because LaMelo was completely in his bag and gets 29 minutes. That was, I mean, honestly, probably more than they wanted, or that they had some kind of plan. They didn't say minutes restriction strictly, but they had some kind of plan for LaMelo Ball. But that plan got thrown out the window when Charlotte they needed a win, and they needed LaMelo to get that win, and he delivered at the end.
Yeah, and Charles Lee at the beginning of this game, during pregame media availability, he said that he would be on a similar minutes plan to what he was going through right before he went out with the latest injury, and then he was questionable, and then he was probable, and then he played. And boy, did he deliver with this stat line. Unbelievable, really, from all accounts. So just what was funny is shout out to Jeremy Grandison and Matt Alkiza, Willie P. All right. It was us four out on Media Row. And what was funny was all of us were talking about the game, whatever play would happen. Hey, man, that was awesome, whatever, yada, yada. So many times, felt like every 5 minutes or so, we would ask each other, hey, do you know the record for blank? Hey, do you know what the record is for blank? Do you know what the record is for threes made by a player in a quarter for the Hornets? The first quarter specifically. How many points have been put up in the first half at home in Hornets history? They set that record, by the way. 80 points in the first half. It's a home record in Hornets franchise history. We just kept asking about all of the records. Doug, they scored, I think, to be exact, a bajillion points in the first 18 minutes. Just because I want to get that right. They scored a bajillion points in the first 18 minutes. So we kept asking for all these records. One thing that I was looking for right off of the rip was how many times have three teammates reached the 30-point mark in the same game. And I don't know how good this research is. It was really hard to dig up. It feels like maybe the last time this happened was 2 years ago with Philly when Embiid, Maxey, and Harris all went for 30. They all got close. Brandon had 26. LaMelo had 28. Kon had 28. But this is the thing about the game. If you wanted a theme, what does it mean? All of it. This is what provides the sickness right here. What you just saw. This is what keeps pulling me back. This is what has Michael Scotto reporting that Jeff Peterson and Charles Lee and the Hornets brass, they just want to see how it looks when all three of those guys specifically, Miles is sprinkled in there, and he was sprinkled in offensively a little bit. It was kind of perfect with the way that you imagine what this team is supposed to be at its peak, with Miles driving a little bit. He had 16 points in this game. It's kind of perfect, right? The big three, Miles Bridges coming in as that fourth contributor, and you see it, and it works offensively, and you know you're going to give up a lot defensively, but you do have some wing defenders and Josh Green and Sion James who are supposed to fill those roles. You can see the puzzle. You can see the picture coming together. You got the edge pieces in there. Now okay, that one was a hard piece to find. Let's put it, boom, the health piece. We found it. It was under the table. It got under the rug somehow. We had to flip over everything, and then we found the health piece. And then it looks like that against a team that is looking to contend in the postseason. It looked beautiful. The offense was beautiful. LaMelo took over. Kon just hits every single shot that he takes. Just a fun game overall. And I'm glad the Hornets fans were rewarded for going out to the Spectrum Center tonight. 23
minutes on the floor. Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Kon Knueppel together. In those 23 minutes, they outscored the Atlanta Hawks by 20 with a net rating of 38.4. If you're curious, on the season, their net rating is 4. Offensive rating, 159.2. On the season, 125. So they way outperformed that. They were amazing when they were together. And so now the question is, will we see them together a lot for the rest of the season? That would be fantastic. But I want to dig into Kon's game. I want to get to some comments. We got a lot of shows left to do here.
All right, coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
It was beautiful. We'll give you more observations, the assist numbers, just the advanced metrics, and then we'll read some of the comments. As Doug said, that's all still to come here. Locked On Hornets. This episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You can trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends Advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney, your money, your move. This episode is also brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for the one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. I like that. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits, it can save you hours every week. And knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime gives you a real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's Gusto, Gusto, gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. While we have you live, this is a good time to remind you of the Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Hornets your first listen of the day. Thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today. Get Locked On Hornets with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. It's your choice. Just go to let me get the URL here. Walker, what are you doing? LockedOnHornets.supercast.com. That's all you have to go to. LockedOn.supercast.com. And there you can be a part of the Everydayer Club, or just look at the show notes below the episode. 39 assists for the Hornets. Are you kidding me? I asked Willie if it was good because I'm not very good at math, but through the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, they were on pace for 56. It felt good. If
That's got to be a record. That's got to be a record, right?
That seems, yeah, that seems nice. I was looking it up. This is what we were doing. This is Media Row. Oh, here. Is this a record? Is that a record? Okay, like it feels like they're on pace for it. Second half, they slowed down just a little bit because they scored 80 in the first. They ended up with 133 points total. They had 27 in the third, 26 in the fourth. So that's actually not even up to their average offensively, but they did so much work in the first half that they were able to accumulate 39 assists. Just unreal offensive production for them, especially in the first, 24 minutes of basketball.
This was, to me, this was the closest that I've seen LaMelo get back to that 21-22 All-Star season LaMelo, where he was picking different spots in the game to do different things, whether it was knock down his own three, play off ball, play on ball, but then throw it, half court, 3/4 court, wherever he wanted to on the court, he was throwing it up.
Yeah.
Just deadly accuracy. This is not the LaMelo Ball that we saw pre-injury, that we saw even when he was healthy. We haven't seen this LaMelo Ball this season. He just looked like a different player. And I don't know if it's the practices that they were able to get, because they've been off for a few days. And so maybe just getting some practices with the team, if they've loosened up something in the offensive play calling, if they've just come to a little bit of a détente on the minutes restriction and the minutes management, because you did see LaMelo get in at the end of the game. And I think that was probably a source of frustration when he was on his first minutes restriction, was that they would play him a lot at the beginning of the game and then play him to start the fourth quarter. But then when the team, I'm sure from his perspective, like, hey, the team needs me most, I can't be in the game to help my team win it. That's got to be frustrating for him. In this one, he was able to do that, and he looked happier.
Yeah, he looked happy. Well, yeah, like, okay.
You hit a billion threes, you're going to feel a little bit happy.
You know, they were thrilled. All of them were thrilled. They were all telling the crowd to keep cheering loudly. They were all pumping up the crowd. All right, if there are any kids in the car around you, just here's a curse word warning. I'm just letting you know, 3, 2, 1, here it comes, if however you want to parent it. But the Hornets were showing their ass out there. Like, it was hilarious. In the first half, I mean, all sorts of ass showing. Brandon Miller on that dunk where he ends Krejci's life.
Yes.
Look, we were joking about it as well. I feel like the NBA should allow 3 seconds of showing your ass if you dunk on somebody like that. And then he got a tech because Tony Brothers, he needed to be involved. So he gave Brandon Miller a tech after giving just a slight little shove. Like, it's fine. It wasn't all that big of a deal. LaMelo got a tech in the first half, too.
It wasn't Sean Kemp, you know.
Right.
Like,
it wasn't double pointing standing over the guy. It was fine. He was
so
feeling
soft.
himself.
This league is so soft now.
You know, I
kidding me?
didn't like it either. It was a little, it was a shove. All right. So that was it. It wasn't a push. It wasn't anything crazy. Anyways, he gets the tech. LaMelo got a tech. But even in the second half, you had this back-to-back play sequence where I think it's a half-court alley from LaMelo to Brandon. And then the very next play down, this one was my favorite play where LaMelo just heaves it. It's from the hip. It's just Billy the Kid shooting as soon as he pulls the gun out of the holster. Perfect alley to Miles, who's cutting. And he threw it before Miles cut. That's the beautiful two-man game between those guys, where they just have so much chemistry. Even if LaMelo's been hurt, they do know how each other plays on the court. So he just shoots it from the hip. Miles cuts, slams it. And I believe the Hawks might have called a timeout after that. Like, the alleys, the pace was somewhat there. Just a ton of three-point shooting all over the place, man. LaMelo makes a difference. This was a statement game from LaMelo. You know, Doug, just to continue down this, Hornets Reddit, our favorite aggregation site, they're the best, right? Every time I scroll down Hornets Reddit these days, it's some sort of national NBA podcast talking about trading LaMelo Ball. It's Zach Lowe, it's Bill Simmons, it's John Hollinger writing about it, it's Sam Vecini talking about it, it's Kelly Iko reporting it. He is so in the NBA consciousness, man. Like, everybody's talking about him. And it's because LaMelo hadn't played many basketball games. And you have this trio of point guards that the league is down on right now. And the other two are malcontents. We saw one on the floor last night with Trae Young. My whole point has been LaMelo is not that. He's very different than John Morant and Trae Young in that regard. And also, he is fun. I think you can morph him into a basketball player that plays well with others, more so than the other point guards in question. And you saw it on full display with that beautiful offensive performance. This is the thing that keeps you coming back.
Yeah, you could take issue with the technicals that they picked up, with some of the sloppiness in the game and some of the young players doing young player things, but they need to find that joy again. They need to find that happiness with the game. They need to find that energy, that attitude that we saw Brandon Miller display. And then you can work towards the end of the season if things were to get more serious, if a play-in game was in reach, you could work to try to rein that back in a little bit, or do that over the next couple of seasons. But like, they need to have an attitude, and that's what we saw against the Atlanta Hawks, an Atlanta Hawks team that didn't have Trae Young at full health, got him back, but he was actually on a minutes restriction, like a serious one, because he's missed like 22 games, hasn't played since October. And the Hawks are on a slide, just like Cleveland. They just got done beating Cleveland too. The Hawks have lost now 5 out of 7 games in December. So the Hawks aren't playing well. And so this is great. The Hornets are getting a little bit of their groove back against teams that were on slides. And now they have to take this momentum and see if they can build it into something that's more disciplined, that's more consistent, because the physicality in this game, the attention to detail, particularly on the defensive end of the floor, was not always there. And it would start and then slip towards the end of the quarter. Like, you can go to each quarter and see, like, 11-2 run, and then followed by an Atlanta towards the end 10-2 run. So, they've still got a lot to figure out. But man, if they could just find the joy over the next couple of games, that's going to benefit them greatly.
Well, I mean, you see the accuracy for each of these teams. It was kind of hilarious because the Hawks, they lived inside the 3-point line and a little from corner three. And then the Hornets just shot all of the threes. Here are some of the advanced metrics according to Cleaning the Glass. So this does negate garbage time, but still, this is according to Cleaning the Glass. So with the Hornets, almost 50% of their shots were taken behind the line. That's in the 94th percentile. Not many teams take almost 50% of their shots from the 3-point line. They hit 50% of their shots, 51.1% from three. That's in the 96th percentile. So they took a lot of threes. They hit a lot of threes. They did not take a lot of shots at the rim, but they did hit almost all of their shots. They were 86.4% at the rim. Didn't take a lot, but again, when they did take the shots at the cup, they made them. They were 19 of 22 at the cup, Doug. I mean, just that'll do it. Even with the second half performance taking a little bit of a dip, you hit all of the threes, and even if you don't take a lot of shots inside the restricted area, you hit all of them. That's going to help you out. Jalen Johnson tried to will this team back into it. He and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I thought they were excellent. Jalen is just an absolute beast. Eric Collins also shared his affinity for Jalen Johnson. Just a fantastic basketball player. Just not quite enough with the way that LaMelo finished this game. So tip your cap to LaMelo.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson was overwhelming, and they probably got to go back and look at that and say there has to have been something that they could have done in the middle of that game to try to disrupt him a little bit. That I don't think they just tried to manage it and say he can't possibly. Oh, okay, he is possibly doing this.
Yeah, he's doing it
with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I mean, without having really studied it, like I just feel like a lot of those were defensive mistakes, rotations, guys getting blown by, and the ball finding in the corner. So, and credit to him, he made the shots. But I feel like Jalen was more like, I'm just a really good player, and if you're going to single cover me, I'm going to shoot over you. And he got a lot of stuff in transition too. There were some turnovers, particularly in the second half, and Kon Knueppel getting it deflected twice off of his body, into the backcourt where he had to heave it, but then he heaves it and it goes off the rim and it hits Jalen Johnson. This game was nuts, man. There were just so many nuts moments in this game.
Shout out to Evan Ludwig, Smoke Ludwig, the producer of the Kyle Bailey Show, who after that 2-play sequence, so you mentioned Kon Knueppel having to go get the basketball, shoot it, heaves it, hits Jalen Johnson, we get it and score, okay? And then what happens is, I believe Kon Knueppel tries to lob it to Miles Bridges or Ryan Kalkbrenner. The Hawks steal it, except they try to throw it. Kon just stays with the play, deflects the basketball, finds it in his hands, kicks out to a corner three where Miles Bridges sinks it. 6 points. And I'll reference Eric Collins again. Eric said, the Hornets have 6 points that they absolutely don't deserve. And yet somehow they found a way.
I'm glad you brought up the word deserve, because I think some people, Hawks fans, would look at this box score and say, look at all of these 3-pointers made. A lot of them ridiculous. And and also, like, so many of those crazy plays went the Hornets' way. They didn't deserve this win. But I will say two things. The way they started this game on the 8-0 run, swing, 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 beautiful passing. They came in with an effective plan.
Exceptional.
It was amazing. And then so many effort plays from everyone, from, Tijon and from Brandon rebounding again. Just like so many effort plays from so many of these guys that while, they might not be the disciplined team that can earn, victories every other night, this one I think they deserved.
Yeah, they did. Yes, because they did play together. There was a togetherness about this squad, specifically from the big three, which was so beautiful, right? And I've caught myself here. I don't know. Maybe we can ask this as we go to break. Okay. Big three. Remember how we tried to do the big four thing? All right, we tried to do the big four last year.
It's called Core Four.
Oh my God. Oh my God, you're right. It was the Core Four. Oh my God, we had to make it rhyme, didn't we? We tried to make it a thing with LaMelo, Brandon, Mark Williams, and Miles, and then they traded a part of the Core Four twice. Anyways,
now
they tried to make
is
that
it
a thing.
wait? Now is it a B3? Is it gone from a Core 4 to a B3?
I love it. But I don't feel the kind of disgust that I did with the core four. It feels like that could be a thing. It could be. Still a long way to go. Like it was one game of LaMelo, but when you're the guy that points to the on-off numbers for LaMelo and how much he makes a difference, specifically offensively, even with some of the deficiencies that he has on the other end of the floor, the net rating is still better for Charlotte when he's out there on the court. And that was contrary to the narrative from some people. Some people were saying the Hornets were playing better basketball without LaMelo. That's not true. So
wasn't
you
us.
saw it.
Yeah, you never heard
not.
that from this show.
No. It was other people. I countered that quite a bit. We both did. Yeah, you can see it work. We just got to stay healthy. That's the thing.
Well, that's it. Because any trade conversation of LaMelo from this show always came from that place of like, if he can't stay on the floor, this was my opinion anyway. Like if he can't stay on the floor, and with the way Kon's playing, they've got to move on at some point and say, okay, we got to build around the players. But if LaMelo is playing at this level and he's staying on the floor, this is what the Hornets want to see. They want to see if that's possible. And if it is possible, great. And if it's not, I think they will consider moving on.
Yeah, let's put some finishing touches on this. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
Okay, what's real from this game? What can we take and expect every single night that those three, Miles Bridges, Sion James, all of them, what can we expect every night that those guys share the floor with one another? That's all still to come. Final segment, LOH. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? Loud. I hear you. Yes, that's me. I raise my hand high. It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there. Suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money should not feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. So what you can do is you can go to Rocket Money, because they help find subscriptions you forgot about that you were paying for, and that helps you clean them up real quickly. Seeing all your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money is going. And I like how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on past spending, and it keeps you on track without overthinking it. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Oh, Rocket Money is speaking right to me, Doug. Like I do find myself, I do have somewhat of an addictive personality, like when it comes to collecting things. And amidst all the Christmas shopping, an algorithm caught me on Etsy, and Hornets pins. Spent a lot of money.
Writing pins or like hat pins?
Like lapel pins. Yeah. So like I just got a Hive 5 collection with Muggsy Bogues, Kendall Gill, Larry Johnson, Del Curry, Alonzo Mourning. It's pretty disgusting. I just bought like 25. Rocket Money needs to help me out. I'm thinking about wearing them for the broadcast, like just putting a different pin each. Yeah, anyways, but I need help. Now I need a LaMelo and Kon and Brandon, and I need those pins. I think what's real from that trio is the sharing of the basketball, because no, they're not all going to hit every single three-pointer that they take. That's not going to happen every single game. But what is real is the passing to the corner, the extra pass. If you need some half-court bailout, that's where LaMelo can help you. If you need some secondary playmaking, that's where Kon can help you. If you need skip passes every once in a while from Brandon, we saw that, right? I think that is the real part of when that trio shares the floor with one another. You have just enough right brain from, isn't right brain is that the creative part of your brain? You have just enough creative brain from LaMelo. You have just enough logical brain from Kon. You have just enough, maybe a mixture of both with Brandon, with some special shot, like mid-range stuff, whatever. It just felt like a nice little symphony from all of them. I feel like the ball movement is the realest part of all of it.
Yeah, what's really exciting about adding Kon to this equation is that he both has the ball handling and the shot making skills that when you pair him alongside LaMelo Ball, they can run pick and rolls with Kalkbrenner, either LaMelo or Kon. And the defense has to respect, if it's Kon off ball, they've got to respect him. If it's LaMelo off ball, they've got to respect him. And so what does that mean? That means that there's probably going to be some, hard hedging. There's going to be some defensive movement towards the ball handler, but the person on the weak side can't really come over to help all that much. And that's going to leave Kalkbrenner wide open in the middle of the floor. And that's what we saw time and time again at the beginning of this game. And Kalkbrenner's a good enough passer to make a simple kick from there that again moves the defense, and then 1-2 more passes away, and you've got either Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, or Kon Knueppel open for a three, and occasionally Miles Bridges had a couple of threes in this one too. And so that's offensively, that is a very dangerous combination. One more thing to say about Kon Knueppel, and we got to get to some of these comments because people have been loading it up. They are topo. They're excited about this win.
I neglected
one more thing
you.
about Kon,
I apologize.
it's coming up in the comments.
Yeah.
His ability, first of all, he's a hooper, just a pure hooper all over the place. They dropped a stat in the middle of the game about how he and a Hawk, I forget which one, it might have been Nah, were like 1-2, or no, it was Dyson Daniels, 1-2 in Miles, ran around the floor, which reminded me of my comparison of Kon to one of the lab rats that's like running around the maze, and he, just looking for the cheese, and he runs into the wall. No, I got to go this way. Okay, got to track back. That's Kon Knueppel. But his ability to make up for his mistakes, like he's making rookie mistakes, okay, and he's going to learn from those, and he's going to clean them all up. But he's cleaning them up now. Like he'll make a mistake, and then the sort of block of Jalen Johnson trying to save the basketball after Kon nearly turned it over. Like it's these kind of plays where he's constantly like, oops, I messed that up. Let me go try to make it up. And he doesn't, what's impressive is that I think guys can tend to do that and then mess up even further and dig themselves into a hole and say, oh, I messed it up. Now I got to go, and they'll foul. That's not Kon. Kon somehow makes a play out of those moments, and it's
noticeable. No, it's crazy. It's absolutely noticeable. I'll tell you this: watch Kon when he misses a three or he has a 1 of 6 shooting display, and he'll miss a three, and then Moussa Diabate will get an offensive rebound. And it's just human nature where guys, out of just pure reaction, will give you some kind of grimace, show just a fraction of a second's worth of frustration, and then get back on defense or then hustle for the basketball. It's so robotic that he shows zero emotion off of the negative plays, and all he does is cheer Moussa for getting the offensive rebound. There was a broadcast I did, I believe it was against the Bulls, maybe the first time, where that happened 3 or 4 separate times. He made a mistake, missed a shot, whatever, and it was one of those, the crowd was begging for him to hit a three. They were ready to erupt because everybody else was in on the offensive fun, and Kon just had a cold night, and he missed it, and then you would hear you would hear that. So just naturally, you would expect him to be frustrated, except Moussa would get the offensive rebound, and then he'd cheer him on and give him a Tiger Woods fist pump, like immediately afterwards. There was no pity party thrown for a fraction of a second. I'm glad you brought that point up. So
and
if you want to go to the comments, yes, 100%.
He's doing it in crunch time, like 6:31 to go in the fourth quarter. He was struggling to drop that dagger. He had missed like 2 of them, and it felt like, I don't know, it looks like the Hawks are going to come back. But then what does he do? He gets back on defense, and he draws that critical charge that kept the Hawks away from that lead. And then just a couple of minutes later, the play that I mentioned before, he tried to lift that pass up over to Miles. It was an ugly pass. Like, he's going to have to work on that. Like, if he wants to deliver those kind of show-stopping passes, that's not quite there for Kon yet.
Yeah.
But he stuck with it and blocked Johnson's attempt to save the ball. Ball swinged out to Miles. 3 more. That was crazy. It was game saving. And that's what I mean. Like, Kon, Brandon, LaMelo, like, yes, they all almost had 30, but they all had game saving stretches. Brandon's was at the end of the third, Kon's there in the middle of the fourth, LaMelo really really all over the place.
Before
all
you
right.
get to the comments, just let me read LaMelo, Hornets Reddit, of course. They tweeted out the comment from LaMelo in his post-game interview with Shannon Spake. LaMelo said, "That was just fun. Pretty much just getting back out here. I haven't been out here in a minute. Pretty much the whole team just playing. We're getting guys back, everybody out there. So it's just fun." All right. A LaMelo quote. I'm sure if I read that and didn't tell you who it was from, you would immediately say, yes, that's from LaMelo. But let's go to the bookend comments. That was just fun. It's just fun. You could tell. Good for him. Good for him, man. Like I felt happy for LaMelo to be able to go out there and just wreak havoc, just freaking ball on him and have that kind of fun. It looked like it. They got the dub. It's been a hell of a season for a lot of the wrong ways for LaMelo. And I'm glad that he got to showcase that, yeah, he still is rare. I'm glad he got to showcase that.
All right, here we go. We're going to run through these comments. Daniel Martin saying it truly was a Hooper's paradise all along. We've got, I'm scrolling. Dan here saying Tijon. You want to say a couple words on Tijon's game?
Hey, man, just continue to hit shots. Shooting a good ball. 2 of 4 from distance. Had a finger roll. I said it in my solo episode. You're asking Tijon to just do a couple things. Offensively, you're asking him to guard defensively. But offensively, what you're asking him to do is hit outside shots and get on your horse in transition. That's it, baby. Don't try to do we don't need you to do too much else. We will run the occasional pick and roll with you as the roll man every once in a while, okay? It really just hit a couple 3-pointers. And what he's doing right now is he's hitting his 3-point shots. He is shooting 48% from 3 on low volume, but that's all right. How do you stay on the floor? He's doing what it takes to stay on the floor. And that's not only is it not a small thing, Doug, it's huge to his development. It's huge.
Well, he had the one play where he drove, shed his man, and then the help defender comes over, Gay, and then he like gives him the arm bar but not extending to get the foul, but the arm bar to create the separation to knock down the high off the glass layup. So it's stuff like that where you go, okay, in his first couple of seasons, that was accidental. And now it's looking more like, oh, he meant to do that. Like it looks in control. Like he's practiced it. Like that's development. So yeah, we're seeing that from him. LA Loves LR says Kon saving the ball going out of bounds was insane. Hawks were actually favored in this game, says Stories and Cardboard. Well, Vegas gets it wrong every once in a while.
4.5 point favorite. Yeah, 4.5 point favorite. Yeah. I
think Trae Young coming back may have hurt them a little bit. Just like when LaMelo first came back, not in this one, but like when LaMelo first came back, it just seemed to disrupt things because of the way the minutes restriction was affecting things. And that's what I think the Hornets have learned, and hopefully will continue to learn from how that first stint off of injury went. And I just think this was managed a lot better.
Well, I tweeted out, I joked about, oh, okay, we'll see if Trae Young just kind of eases into the game. And then, I put ... because as soon as you started to think that, Trae Young's first shot of the game was a shot from the parking lot, a 40-footer. Just, all right, baby, I'm back. Old heave ho. Let's see if it goes in. It didn't go in. In fact, he was
if he starts taking shots away from Jalen Johnson, he's going to get traded. Okay, there's just like that. The Jalen Johnson is the future of that team. It's like if you fast forwarded this whole thing with Kon and LaMelo like a season or two, that's what they're dealing with in Atlanta.
Yeah, like so much where he was the usage guy. I mean, it actually runs an exact contrast to what Trae wants. It's not only not being a part of a team that's moving the ball around, it's we're giving the ball to Jalen and having him be the point forward and running everything through him, to where Trae, not only do you not get the ball at all right here, like you actually have to move around off of screens and we're going to hit you off the pass because Jalen is the one we want with the orange.
Sensei says a healthy Buzz City is dangerous. YT Cage says this is our team. Let's bleeping go Hornets. Also says so proud of LaMelo not letting the talking get to him, or maybe he did. Either way, to answer back.
Whatever it was.
Whatever works, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see. Scrolling. William says shout out the chat. Great game. Min City Matthew says I would keep Colin Sexton. He's good off the bench. I mean, We haven't. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, no Colin Sexton in this game. KJ Simpson had a couple of good plays, but man, when KJ and Tijon and Moose, oh boy, we can get into this another time. I don't know what's going on with Moose. The Moose is not loose.
Well, he's
Moose
hurt.
Is tight.
Well, he's hurt. Yeah, he
looks hurt.
Mason
I said it.
Plum,
I wrote that down on my bio. I'm like,
Yeah.
he looks physically not right.
Yeah, I mean, he missed a hook shot. I thought there were some good passes. He did finish with 3 assists. I still think, like, when he's healthy, still defensively, people have a hard time moving him. People have a hard time scoring on him. How many rebounds did he have in this one? Because maybe some of that superpower, the offensive superpower that he unquestionably has, hasn't been there as much. 6 boards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That superpower was beating guys to the ball and beating guys to the spot. And that's what I'm not seeing him do. And that to me is, yes, that's got to be, there's nothing wrong with his heart. I mean, this has got to be injury. His body not responding in the way that it was before.
Yeah, and remember there was that weird comment about how he's been dealing with a knee injury for a little bit, and it kind of just raised some eyebrows, like, oh, has he been dealing with something legitimate for a little bit? I mean, Mason got in over him, and there is, I did ask about a minutes restriction, and I actually, got in the car and had to drive right at the end of the third quarter to get here to do the pod so I could catch the fourth quarter. So, but anyway, I didn't have a chance to ask about any Moussa minutes restriction. Maybe that question can be asked, but yeah, like there's a little something going on. Anyways, all right. Any more? Or will that do it for a Hive Live edition of Locked On Hornets?
Because that was all in the YouTube chat, and I appreciate them.
Okay.
But I got to shout out the Sickos in the Sicko Brigade. Oh, man, this is telling me that this Sicko celebration was my 223rd text out to the Sicko Brigade.
Wow.
Let's see. This one is from Davis of the 8th Bismack Brigade, who says, can I get a Ric Flair woo? I can't do it. I will wake the baby, and that will be bad for me. Walker, can I get a Ric Flair woo?
I'll wake the significant other, and that will be, I think, worse for me. I don't know. Maybe it's not either way. I don't want. That's not a competition I want to win.
I don't think so.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't want to try. How about woo? That's the best I can do.
That's good. That'll be good
Sorry.
enough for today.
I'm sorry. I got to live here.
All right. This one is from Hallie of the 12th Dwight Howard Division. LaMelo played like he's sick of all the rabble. He's sick of the rabble, Walker. I love a good rabble.
Rabble's a good word. Rabble's a good
Kon
word.
is perfect. Everyone looked serious, and we got some fun, magical moments. A few shaky spots, but that game was chef's kiss. I can do that. Mwah. Mm-hmm. And we needed it. P.S. Bleep you, Trae Young. Go home and pout about it. Yeah. Yeah, go home and pout about it and take the pig trophy with you because we don't want it.
Is that right? How much do we want the pig trophy? We tried to make that something. Trophy. I think we tried to manufacture some pride about the pig trophy, but I didn't see it really mentioned at all this go around. I don't even know if it's still a thing.
Make it an actual pig. Make it an actual pig. Let's get college football with it. We can bring a pig in the arena. That's what I want to see. If you do that, you'll convince me.
That's fratastic. Just let a pot-bellied pig just roam free in the Spectrum Center, and whoever catches it, congratulations to you. Crispy Bacon, we can name him. All right. That'll do it for Locked On Hornets. Thanks for making us your first listen. We're free and available anywhere you get your pods. That includes YouTube, Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also go check him out on Yahoo Sports Daily. Are you going to wear the Big Dub hat to Yahoo Sports Daily tomorrow? When you're maybe I've
stitched it to my head. After that performance, I have just physically stitched. I'm bleeding very badly under here.
He has to go to the hospital, so we'll end the pod, but not before we give a few sign-offs. I'm in danger. I'm Walker Mehl. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
Oh, this is where I hit the outro.
Yeah.